morning, team. It is Tuesday, October 20th. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Amy Core, live out of the Ohio office, and I've got Kevin Van Eck with me, who's live out of the Goose Island office. So grab a mug and join us for another episode of Coffee with Amy and Kevin.
Yes, good morning, Amy. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. When you grab your mug, make sure it's full of coffee, tea, or whatever you're drinking today. Thanks so much for joining us. We just wanted to say thank you for showing up every day as we're going into the third week of It's All About Love. If you joined us yesterday at 9 a.m., you know that we're talking about relationships this week. And so today we're going to talk about some tactical ways you can connect, reconnect, and also be a connector.
Thanks, Kevin. Yes, so this week, what we really want you to focus on is relationships. And those are the relationships that you've got with people in your sphere or in your network. And you've got all different types of relationships. You've got people that you're really close to right now. You have great referral sources, people that are probably A's in your database. You've probably got B's, individuals that are starting to refer business to you, and then individuals, C's and D's, that you may want to work on. And those are really important to identify as you're looking at your business plan moving forward into 2021. But what I want you to specifically hone in on this week are your super connectors. And in your relationship worksheet that we sent out to you, I'd love for you to write down the 3 or 4 super connectors that you can identify in your network. And what I'd like you to do is, you may not be in a great relationship or have connected that closely with all of these people yet, but I want you to identify who they are so that you can start making a plan for how you're going to connect and reach out to them over the course of these next 12 to 15 months. And the reason why this is so important is having super connectors in your database. They're the individuals that are going to help drive the growth of your sphere. Because ultimately, when you are running a business and you're wanting to work by referral, you've got to increase the number of individuals that you're connected with in your database. These super connectors already know so many of the people you probably want to get in connection with. So the best thing that you can do is identify who are these 3 or 4 super connectors. And then we're going to talk a little bit through this series right now about ways that you can reach out to them and start building a relationship. It may not happen immediately, but if you take consistent steps to get in front of a super connector, and these kinds of people are really important. They're usually pretty busy. They're doing a lot of things. They're connected with a lot of individuals. So when you make contact, it's going to need to be valuable to them. So you're going to need to figure out the best way to approach these super connectors. So step 1, identify those 3 or 4 people. And then the second step is to start working through ways you're going to reach out to them to build and develop that relationship over the next 12 to 15 months.
That's great. Yeah, super connectors are really, really important. And I know we talk a lot of times about the business potential they bring, but it's really about the relationships they bring, right? Where, like you talked about, they're connecting us to others so we can foster more relationships. But what about the relationships that we've lost? What about the people that, either through our lack of outreach, or maybe we've just grown distant, relationships that we had where we've lost connection? How do you reconnect with people? And whether they're super connectors or not, this applies to everybody. So let's talk about reconnection. A lot of times when we think about somebody that we haven't been in contact with, we feel guilty. We are hard on ourselves. We make up stories in our head about what the reaction is going to be if we were to call that person. We psych ourselves out. The fear becomes greater than the actual, what it's going to take for us to call somebody or reach out to someone. So first of all, we got to realize, if these people liked us in the past and nothing has changed, they like us now. More likely than not, they will be excited to hear from us. So how do we do that? Well, let's make it easy on ourselves. If you're afraid to pick up the phone and just dial them out of the blue, you're afraid to just show up at their house with a cap gift or a floor mat, a love mat that they can put in front of their door, then tee yourself up. Make it easy. Number 1, you can go on social media. You can start connecting with them on social media. It's very soft. It's very easy. Start liking their posts, start commenting on it, getting back in touch that way. Perhaps send a Facebook Messenger or a DM, a direct message over Instagram. The other way you could do it is just by texting. And here's the thing, whether you do it through texting or Facebook or Instagram, or even if you just call them out of the blue on the phone, the first thing we have to do that will take away the power that we've given this story that we've built up in our head, that they will be angry with us for not being in touch, is we apologize. Simply apologize for not being in touch. So example, I'm calling Tom. I have not talked with Tom in 3 years. Hey, Tom, it's Kevin Van Eck. Hey, how are you doing? Great. Hey, I'm really sorry. I haven't been in touch. I just wanted to see how you and the kids and the family and the dogs and the birds and everything, how is everybody doing? And you connect that way. And many of us were able to do that during the shelter in place earlier this year in 2020. But for those of us that haven't been able to get over that gap, this is the way to do it. First, apologize for not being in touch. Then you can move on through the call and you've taken away the fear. And if you want to make it even easier, like we said, tee yourself up either with a text or a message over social media and slowly integrate yourself. Or as Amy says, just wade into the shallow end of the pool. Make it easier first before you get into the deep end and make a full-blown call.
That's right. I'm a bit of a wader. But that's such great advice, Kevin, because I think all of us have experienced that concept of losing contact with somebody in our sphere. We get busy, and so do they. So it is just kind of getting over yourself a little bit and just taking the steps that you need to make that reconnection. And the third thing that I wanted to focus on are being a super connector yourself. So we talked earlier about you identifying who your super connectors are. And when I talk about a super connector, making sure we all understand those are the people in our communities or in our schools or just in our network that just tends to know everyone or has the in on certain things that are happening. They're just really well connected. A great example, I talked about it this summer, is Thad is a phenomenal super connector. Whenever you call Thad, if you have a conversation with him and there is an opportunity for him to refer or give you insight or a contact for something, he's always able to do it. He's always got a guy, as I like to say, or has got a gal. He always has a connection that he can move forward with somebody that he's interacting with. And that's really powerful. So what I want you to be thinking about is, how can I become a super connector? Because let's face it, if we become that individual that everyone is calling because I've got a guy or I've got a girl, that's going to add your value into the relationship. People are going to see you as valuable because you're able to help them with things that are important to them and their lives. So what I'd love for you to do, it's also on your worksheet, is to start thinking about, what do I need to do? What resources do I need to build up in order to become a super connector in my sphere of influence? And those are things as easy as, what painter do I have? What electrician do I have? But it's also, what lenders do I work with? Which interior designers do I work with? Also knowing things like, who are the folks who are running the restaurants in my local, city area or in my village? Who are the people that I need to know and have in kind of my arsenal of resources so that when somebody comes to me, I'm easily able to give them a contact that is going to allow them to move forward, whatever it is that they're looking to do. So take some time, think about how I can become a super connector as I head into 2021. And, you're going to be able to find all different things that you can get and fill in your resource bin so that as you start networking or building relationships over the next 12 to 15 months, you're suddenly going to be a great resource for people.
We do have a bonus item for you today in terms of how you can reach out to anybody. And one of the things, I think we mentioned it briefly yesterday in our kickoff for week 3, but one of the things that we want to do is take advantage of every outreach and turn it into a reason for more outreach. So we call this the 1x3. It's coined by Amy Core of App Properties. She came up with the name, and now we're trademarking it, registering it, and copywriting it. So it's called the 1x3. And the 1x3 simply means that you can turn one outreach into 3 total. So how does that work? Well, let's think about it. If today I met someone for coffee and we sat down outside of the Starbucks, socially distanced, we enjoyed a coffee, we had a good conversation. Later today, I'm going to text that person and I'm going to say, thanks so much. It was really great talking with you today. Let's do it again soon. At the same time today, I'm putting a handwritten note, a thank you note in the mail that says, thank you so much for taking the time. It was really great talking with you and reconnecting and catching up. I hope we can do it again soon. And maybe referencing something personal that you talked with this person about. Now you've turned one coffee, one meeting, into a total of 3 outreaches. You've seen them, you've texted them, and you've also written a card. And why is this important? Well, it's important for everybody, right? In the world, we're fighting for people's attention. We're fighting for their attention, and it's through no fault of their own or your own. We can talk about attention spans and all that, but in reality, it's not attention spans. It's the fact that we are being attacked from all sides by things that want our attention. So how do you make sure that you get the boost into the relationship that you want? It's through repetition, it's through habits, it's through the 1x3.
That is great advice, Kevin. And I have to say, I love the name, the 1x3. And I'm super glad that we are going to patent that. So I was thinking about this, and I'm starting to realize that maybe I am a Peloton super connector. How many of you are riding Pelotons? Because I super connected you to the idea. Yep. Stay tuned. More super connecting to come. No, seriously, folks, thank you so much for joining us. Time for Kevin to take over the closing.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Yes, you may have received a message recently or seen us on social media. Here's the jam about social media. Please follow us, please subscribe to us, and please like our page. And the reason we're asking for this is so that we have more resources to be able to provide to you. Meaning the more exposure we get, it's not about us, it's not about Amy and I. In all reality, it's about us being able to bring on bigger guests, to bring on bigger speakers, to be able to network with people on coffee with Amy and Kevin that we otherwise wouldn't have access to unless we were true influencers.
That's right. So like us on Instagram or Facebook.
So thank you everyone for joining us again. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, and we will see you soon.
All right, bye guys. Make it a great Tuesday.
And if you're still with us, I'd like you to take a look at each one of our photos, because Amy looks like she's glowing straight out of a makeup tutorial, and I look like I need to go see a doctor. All right, thanks everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.